Have you ever felt like your body is speaking a language you just don't understand? From confusing period symptoms all the way to the chaos of menopause, it can get really overwhelming. Well, in this explainer, we're going to decode those messages. We're using a fantastic decade-by-decade guide from Dr. Natalie Crawford to help you understand and really master your hormonal health at every single stage of your life.
This quote, right here, it gets to the absolute heart of it all. Our bodies are constantly sending us signals. The nagging fatigue you feel, that irregular period, the random hot flash, they aren't just random annoyances. They're messages. Think of this explainer as your Rosetta Stone for hormonal health. It's going to help you translate those signals so you can finally listen to what your body's trying to tell you and, actually respond.
Okay, let's dive right in. We'll start off by calibrating our hormonal compass, so to speak. Then we'll take a journey through your 20s, 30s, 40s, and then the 50s and beyond, highlighting the key thing to focus on for each decade. And finally, we'll see how it all weaves together, giving you the power to really become the author of your own health story. So before we get into the different decades, let's just set our compass straight. Hormones aren't static. They're more like a flowing river. They are meant to change. But here's the thing. Normal does not have to mean miserable. The key isn't to stop the changes from happening, because you can't, but to learn how to navigate them with strength and confidence. And that all starts with understanding what's really going on under the surface.
All right, let's dive into the 20s. Now, this is a decade that's usually all about career moves, social life. Long-term health can feel like a problem for, future you. But Dr. Crawford argues this is a critical mistake. Your 20s are the absolute prime and frankly often missed opportunity to build the very foundation your future health is going to stand on.
The choices you make in your 20s, they're like investments in your health 401k. Skipping sleep to hit a deadline or living on processed food might seem totally fine right now, but you're actually making withdrawals from your future self. Every good night's sleep, every single strength workout is a deposit that builds the bone density, the muscle mass, and even the egg quality you will be relying on for decades to come. So, what's the action plan? First, you've got to become a detective about your own body. A key first step is to really understand your natural cycle, which is something you might not even know if you've been on the pill for years. Next, focus on the fundamentals. Prioritize that sleep and build some muscle. Getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep isn't a luxury, it's a hormonal necessity. And building muscle now is kind of like putting money in the bank for your metabolism later on. And finally, please address problems early. Don't just ignore painful periods and hope they go away.
Okay, so as we enter the 30s, the health conversation often shifts, right? It starts to lean towards fertility. But there's a silent enemy often at play here, inflammation. And one of its main drivers is a condition that's becoming more and more common, insulin resistance. Winning this battle in your 30s is absolutely key.
So what exactly is insulin resistance? Well, think of it this way. Insulin is like the key that unlocks your cells to let sugar in for energy. But when your cells get bombarded with way too much sugar way too often, they basically change the locks. They become resistant. And this leaves sugar and insulin just floating around in your blood, creating this perfect storm for chronic inflammation that can impact everything from your energy levels to your fertility.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this analogy just simplifies the whole thing. Imagine insulin is a salesman. At first he knocks and your cell, the door, opens up, no problem. But with our modern diet of processed foods and constant snacking, that salesman is knocking all day long. Eventually, your cells just get annoyed and stop answering the door. That's insulin resistance. So now, the body has to send way more insulin. The salesman has to literally bang on the door just to get the job done.
The action plan for your 30s is all about being proactive. You have to advocate for yourself with your doctor. Fight that insulin resistance with diet and exercise. Your muscles are your secret weapon, by the way. They can absorb blood sugar without even needing insulin. It's also a time to gather some data. Think about an AMH test. It's a blood test that gives you a little snapshot of your ovarian reserve. How many eggs you might have left. And finally, targeted supplements like CoQ10 for egg quality and vitamin D for overall hormonal health can be really powerful tools.
Welcome to the 40s. For most of us, this is the decade of perimenopause. That's the 4 to 10-year transition leading up to menopause. And yeah, it can feel like total chaos, but with the right knowledge, it's a change you can absolutely navigate with strength and awareness.
Now this is a crucial insight. Seriously, forget about hot flashes for a moment. One of the very first signs of perimenopause is actually much more subtle, and it's right here. If your reliable 30-day cycle suddenly shortens to, say, 25 days, that is a huge signal.
It means your brain is working overtime to stimulate your ovaries, which causes you to ovulate sooner. It's a clear message that things are changing, but you'll only catch it if you're actually paying attention.
So what's the game plan for the 40s? First, track your cycle like a hawk. Second, make resistance training non-negotiable. Building and maintaining muscle is your absolute best defense against the metabolic changes of this decade. Third, tackle sleep issues head-on. Don't just suffer through them. And finally, educate yourself. It's time to learn about hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, so you can have an informed, proactive conversation with your doctor about what your options are.
And now we arrive at the 50s and beyond. For way too long, menopause has been framed as some kind of ending, but it's not. It's a powerful pivot. The hormonal focus shifts away from the reproductive cycle and squarely onto the art of mastering longevity, vitality, and your long-term health. In this phase, the key is personalization. This means working with your doctor to create a strategy that could include individualized hormone therapy. But it's also about a whole-body approach. It's time to double down on brain health through learning and nutrition. It's about actively managing stress to keep that inflammation down. And it's so crucial to maintain sexual health. As Dr. Crawford puts it, the vagina is a use-it-or-lose-it organ, and treatments like local estrogen can be an absolute game-changer for comfort and health.
So as we bring this all together, it's pretty clear that each decade isn't some isolated event, right? It's a chapter in a much larger story, with each phase building directly on the one before it. The habits you build in your 20s are going to directly impact how you navigate your 40s and your 50s. It's all connected.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? I want you to forget this idea of perfect hormonal balance. It's not a destination, it's a conversation. It's all about the communication between your brain and your ovaries. Our goal at any age isn't to achieve some perfect static state, but to clear the line of communication and reduce all that inflammatory noise so your body can do its job effectively.
Your hormones are writing a story, whether you're paying attention or not. The question this explainer leaves us with is a really powerful one. Armed with all this knowledge, are you ready to pick up the pen and become the true author of your own health story? Thanks for watching.